All right, let's build life from the ground up. In this explainer, we're diving into molecular biology, the amazing chemical engine that runs inside every living thing. And look, this isn't just about memorizing molecules. It's about really understanding the blueprint of life itself, from the tiniest atom to the energy that powers the whole show. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the MVP, the most important atom of all, carbon. Then we'll check out the watery world where everything happens. After that, we'll see how the key building blocks get put together, how the genetic instructions are read, and finally, what actually powers this incredible system. So, what do you really need to build an organism from scratch? Well, it all starts with a few key ingredients. And the most important of all is one single element that's so versatile it forms the backbone of pretty much every molecule that makes you, you. And that element is, of course, carbon. You know, when we talk about organic chemistry, we're really just talking about the chemistry of carbon. It's the undisputed king, the absolute foundation that all life is built on. But why? What makes this one atom so special? Well, its secret is all about connection. A single carbon atom can form 4 super strong, stable links. We call them covalent bonds with other atoms. This means it can build long chains, crazy branch structures, and even complex rings. Honestly, think of it as the ultimate biological Lego brick. It lets life build an almost infinite variety of molecules. All these chemical reactions happening in a cell, that's what we call metabolism, and it really just goes in 2 directions. Anabolism is all about building up, linking small, simple molecules together to create big, complex ones. Catabolism is the opposite, breaking down those complex molecules back into their simple parts. It's this constant cycle of construction and demolition that keeps life going. You know, for a long time, scientists actually thought that organic molecules had some kind of special life force, that they could only be made by living things. But that idea got completely turned on its head in the 1820s when a chemist made urea, an organic compound, in a lab from scratch. This was a huge deal. It proved that the chemistry of life isn't magic. It follows the exact same rules as everything else in the universe. Okay, so we've got our carbon-based building blocks, but where do all these reactions actually happen? They happen in water, and water isn't just some boring background liquid. It's an active participant. Its unique properties literally create the perfect stage for life to exist. And here it is, water's secret weapon. It's polar. See, the oxygen atom in H2O is a little greedy with electrons, so it gets a slight negative charge. That leaves the 2 hydrogen atoms with a slight positive charge. This imbalance makes water molecules act like tiny little magnets, sticking to each other with these things called hydrogen bonds. And basically, everything cool about water comes from this one simple fact. These hydrogen bonds give water 4 incredible superpowers. First, it can absorb a ton of heat without changing its temperature much. That's why our bodies in the ocean stay so stable. Second, when it evaporates, it takes a lot of heat with it. That's called cooling, and it's why we sweat. Third, water molecules stick together, which is cohesion, and to other things, which is adhesion. That's how trees pull water all the way up to their leaves. And finally, its polarity makes it an amazing solvent for other polar molecules. Now, because water is such a great solvent, it basically divides the world into 2 camps. You have hydrophilic substances. That means water-loving. These are polar, and they dissolve easily in water, like salts or sugar. Then you have hydrophobic substances, water-hating. These are nonpolar, and they do not mix with water, like oil. This simple difference is absolutely crucial for everything, from your blood to your cell membranes. Okay, check this out. If you really want to see how powerful polarity is, just compare water to methane. They're about the same size, but methane is nonpolar. Now look at the boiling point. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, right? Methane boils at minus 160 degrees. That is a massive difference. And it all comes down to those hydrogen bonds holding the water molecules together, making it the perfect liquid for life. All right, so we've got our carbon foundation and our watery workshop. Now it's time to actually build something. Let's look at the 4 major types of large molecules, or macromolecules, that build and run a cell. So these are the basic units, the monomers. We've got amino acids, which build proteins. We have simple sugars, called monosaccharides, like glucose. And then we have fatty acids, which make up lipids. From just these few simple parts, life builds incredible complexity. Let's kick things off with carbohydrates. Simple sugars, or monosaccharides like glucose, are the main fuel for our cells. If you link two of them together, you get a disaccharide like sucrose. That's just table sugar. And if you link hundreds or even thousands of them together, you get polysaccharides like starch that plants use for energy storage, or cellulose that gives them structure. Next up, lipids. This here is how we form a triglyceride, which is the main type of fat in our bodies. The recipe is super simple. You take one glycerol molecule and you attach 3 fatty acid chains to it. The result is a molecule that is packed with energy, making it absolutely perfect for long-term storage. So why have both carbs and lipids for energy? Well, think of it this way. Carbohydrates are like the cash in your wallet. They're easy to get to and great for quick energy. Lipids are like your savings account. They store way more energy in less space, but they're a bit harder to access. Living things need both to manage their energy needs. So we have the building materials, and we have the energy. But how does a cell actually know what to build and when to build it? That is where nucleic acids come in. They are the information molecules, the blueprint that contains all the instructions for building and running an entire organism. And there are 2 main types. You've got DNA, the master copy. It's a super stable double helix that keeps the genetic code safe for the long haul. Think of it as the original blueprint locked away in a vault. Then you've got RNA. It's more of a versatile, single-stranded molecule. It's like the working copy, the photocopy of the blueprint that you can actually take out to the construction site to get work done. And this flow of information has a name, the central dogma. It's a 3-step process. First is replication, where the cell makes a perfect copy of all its DNA, which is essential for cells to divide. Then, to use a specific instruction, a gene from the DNA is copied into a messenger molecule called mRNA. That step is transcription. Finally, that mRNA message is read by the cell's machinery to build a specific protein, and that's translation. So DNA to RNA to protein. That's the core information pathway for all of life. Okay, final piece of the puzzle. We've built the molecules, and we have the instructions. But all of this construction takes energy. So how do living things capture, store, and use that energy to power everything? Well, the main way that most organisms get usable energy is through a process called cellular respiration. This is where we take energy-rich molecules, like glucose from our food, and break them down in a very controlled way. The energy that's released is captured in a special molecule called ATP, which acts like the rechargeable battery or the universal energy currency for the cell, powering just about everything it does. But hang on, where did that glucose come from in the first place? Well, for almost all life on Earth, the ultimate source is photosynthesis. Plants and other producers are incredible. They take simple stuff like carbon dioxide and water, and they use energy from sunlight to build them into those energy-rich carbohydrates like glucose. They're basically turning sunlight into food. And that brings us to our final thought. We've seen that carbon provides the bricks and DNA provides the blueprint, but it's the constant flow of energy, captured from the sun by photosynthesis and released by respiration, that acts as the real engine, driving this relentless, complex, and beautiful process we call life. What does it tell us that being alive isn't just about having the right parts, but about being part of a continuous flow of energy?